And once you come into any position that feels good in your body, just start to settle in. Either closing your eyes or softening the gaze over the tip of your nose. If you choose, you could take one hand to your heart and one to baby and just take a few moments to settle in. See if you can tune into your breath. And as you inhale, feel chest and belly rise. And as you exhale, slowly push the breath out. Inhale. And exhale, slowly push the breath out. Taking about 3 more cycles of breath at your own pace. And after your last cycle of breath, we'll slowly start to bring that gentle awareness back into your body. So you could wiggle your fingertips or toes. Maybe take the head from side to side. And then as you're ready, slowly, you can either do this with your props, but we're gonna come onto our backs just for about a minute and a half. Pressing your left foot down into the ground, hug your right knee towards your chest, and then start to take circles with your knee, and you can let your hands just kind of guide the knee in little circles or zeros. And then as you're ready, slowly start to reverse that circle on the right side. Feeling the low back kind of move and support you at the same time. And then slowly come back through to center. Hug the right knee towards the chest and gently press it down. Your right foot down into the ground and hug your left knee towards the chest and start to take those circles with your left knee, letting your hands guide you. Just kind of noticing how you're feeling or observing. And as you're ready, you'll switch sides or switch the circle to reverse it. Take one more circle and then slowly hug left knee towards the chest. And then press the left foot down into the ground. From here, toes are pointed forward, hands come alongside the body, fingers are pointed forward, just taking 3 to 5 hip bridges. So you'll slowly start to lift up. Squeeze your glutes, inhale. And exhale, slowly bring it down. Inhale to lift up. Feel your legs engage. And exhale, bring it down. Do a couple more on your own. Feeling your outer hips and your glutes work by magnetizing your inner thighs towards one another. And you'll take one more round. And then slowly start to press the low back down into the ground. Roll onto one side. And then when you're ready, slowly press up into your seated position. You could close your eyes or soften the gaze and just notice, and you can kind of take one hand to your belly and then one to your low back like this. And typically when we're breathing, we do more of like chest breathing. So just breathing into our chest as opposed to like breathing deep into our belly and our low back. So you can kind of see how deep you're breathing by taking one hand to belly, one to the low back, and take a full breath in. And then a full breath out. You'll kind of feel your low back, maybe your pelvis move. Take a few more breaths. And I have not been through labor yet, but I am told that this is the kind of breath that you want to harness, is like that really deep belly breathing as opposed to like the shallow breath into our chest. Most people, we think about when we're breathing deeply, we only breathe to like right about here. And we actually need to get like all the way down here in order to have our pelvic floor kind of move in sync with that. So with that being said, we'll take a couple of those blueberry breaths or whatever object you choose. So you could close your eyes or soften the gaze, and then imagine that there's either a blueberry or maybe Hershey Kiss, marble, something that's right underneath your sit bones. And we'll take one round of breath, inhale, and exhale. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, slowly start to lift the object from the sit bones or the ground floor to the first floor. And then as you inhale, slowly release it down to the ground floor. Exhale, pick blueberry up from ground, first and second. And as you inhale, slowly let the blueberry lower to the first and the ground floor. Exhale, bring blueberry up from the ground, first floor, second and third. And as you inhale, slowly lower it down to the second, first, ground. Take a few more rounds on your own. And then you could also imagine your pelvic floor. As you exhale, it's slowly lifting up towards heart space or lifting baby up towards heart space. And then as you inhale, it's slowly widening and lowering down. And knowing that you don't have to take it all the way up to the third floor, you could start at second, or you could even go a little bit higher if that's the breath that you can take this morning. Take one more cycle of breath. And then as you're ready, bring your hands to heart center. And if you want, you could set an intention or dedication or a mantra for your practice. We'll be doing a lot of outer hip, some glute work and stretching of the hips. And so that might lead you to something, a mantra, thinking about being open or creating space, or even harnessing that strength, because we'll be doing a lot of standing postures today. We'll open with one collective breath together. Take an inhale through the nose, and then open mouth to let it go. From here, take the hands to the thighs. We'll start with a couple of cat-cows. So on an inhale, and you don't have to do this too much, but you'll start to press the pelvis forward. And then on the exhale, round through the spine, chin to chest. So as you inhale, sit up tall, shoulders roll down the back, squeeze them together. And then round through the spine on the exhale. You can take a couple more on your own. And if you want, it can sound weird, but if you want to, it actually feels really nice with the pelvis, but you can start to move in kind of like circles or reversing it and just feeling your tailbone in your body kind of moving and just kind of adding that in as you want. Take a couple more rounds on your own. And then from here, we'll slowly start to come into our tabletop positions, coming onto our hands and our knees. Our shoulders will stack over wrists, spreading the fingers wide, so finding like this really solid base. And our hips stack over our knees. And we'll start with a couple of like circles, or you can, they call this like wagging your tail by like just kind of moving from side to side or making circles. You can kind of, in like a typical yoga class, we say not to like move around too much or like get out of our alignment. So like shoulders over wrists, you can kind of fudge that a little bit here and just kind of move around how you'd like and however it feels good. And then we'll come back to that neutral tabletop position. Finding a strong base. So start to pull baby up towards the heart space and take your right hand forward and your left leg back. On an inhale, find length. And on the exhale, if you want to and you have that space, you could bring your right elbow to your left knee. Inhale to extend. And exhale to curl it all in. Last time, inhale. And exhale. Inhale, straighten. Hold here for 3. Hug baby up towards the heart space, 2. And 1, slowly come down. Right hand comes down, left knee comes down. You can take a couple circles before we switch sides. And then your left arm will reach forward. Take your right leg back. Notice if the hips are square, so drop the right big toe down towards your left inner thigh. Lifting belly button up towards the heart space. Find length on the inhale. And then exhale, if you have that space, left elbow to right knee. Inhale to extend. Nice. And exhale, curl it in. Inhale, find length. Last time, curl it in. Inhale, extend and hold for 3. 2, remember to breathe. And 1, left hand comes down, right knee comes down. And then from here, a little bit more on our hands and our knees. Start to take your right heel towards the seat. And you'll just take a couple of circles, big circles, with the knee down, out, and around. Maybe taking that right knee towards the right elbow. And then you're gonna switch the circles. So you'll take your knee straight forward, out, and around. And that's like the harder one for most people. You'll feel that resistance as you try to externally rotate. And you'll feel this in your outer right glute probably. And then you'll slowly start to bring that right knee down and we'll rinse and repeat on the other side. You can take a couple of cat-cows before we move or kind of roll out the neck or the shoulders as needed. I know this is a lot in our hands and our knees. And then we'll slowly start to bend into that left leg. Start to take those giant circles with the knee, going forward, back, and around. You might notice that this side feels completely different than the other. And then we'll slowly start to take the knee forward, around, and back. And then slowly start to bring that left knee down. And we'll come into puppy dog pose. So puppy dog pose is also an option as we start to get bigger. We don't have the space necessarily to come into like a child's pose comfortably or into a downward facing dog. So I'll give this option of puppy dog pose. So from hands and knees, you can walk the arms forward. There can be a slight bend in your elbows, especially if the back and the shoulders and the chest feel really tight. But this is a great pose. You can always place a bolster or a pillow underneath your chest to also give that support. Take a few breaths here, breathing into your low back, and the hips. And then from here, slowly start to come back to your tabletop position. Maybe you take or press back towards your heels, like sitting back, and you can kind of roll the shoulders out, especially, or take a couple of neck rolls. And as I mentioned before, we're doing a lot of like glute and hip work today. So from our tabletop position, we'll come into a lizard pose. So walking your right foot to the outside, towards the outside edge of your mat. The hands will come on the inside of your right foot. You can always place blanket or a pillow underneath that left knee. And then from here, you can start to take those circles, kind of going around. And if the knee moves backwards or more forwards, as long as there's no pain, totally okay. As well as that back left leg, that can move along with the right leg. Doesn't have to stay stationary. You can kind of reverse the circles. Then we're going to add in a little bit more from here. So on an inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, slowly start to straighten. So the hands are going to stay on the inside of the right foot. So it's kind of like a half splits if you're familiar with like vinyasa yoga. But we're going to keep the hands on the inside of the right foot and then slowly start to rebend into that front leg. Inhale to straighten. And then slowly start to rebend into the front leg. Take one more round. And then from here, slowly come back to that tabletop position. And then we'll take the left foot to the outside of the mat. Hands come on the inside of your left foot for that lizard pose. Notice how this side may feel different, or maybe it's the same, and then you can start to take those circles. And then you can reverse it, going the other way. And then we'll add in the hamstring stretch. So on an inhale, straighten, and then slowly start to bend. And just kind of move with your own breath. So I kind of cue the inhales and the exhales, but know that that isn't like a hard and a fast roll necessarily. If your breath doesn't match mine, if you want to stay in it for a little bit longer to hold the pose, that's also totally okay. We'll take one more round. And then we'll slowly come back into that tabletop position. You have the option to either tuck the toes under and send the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Or you could also come into that puppy dog pose. Feet are, they can actually be a little bit wider than hips width distance, especially to create that space for baby. And you can slowly start to take a slight bend in the knees, press your tailbone up, and this will allow your pelvis to sit, probably in a little bit more comfortable position. Take a full breath in and a full exhale out. As you're ready, slowly start to let the feet and the hands meet one another. And we roll up one vertebrae at a time till we come up to standing. The top of our mats. Coming into goddess pose. You can either take, it doesn't matter which foot is towards the front and which is to the back. Take as wide of a stance as you can, pinch your heels in, toes are out, and then draw baby up towards the heart space. And then from here on an inhale, slowly start to reach up and exhale to lower bend. And notice how we're changing the breath today. Notice how that feels. And if you want to, you can always switch. So maybe you exhale and reach and inhale lower, or you can do the other way. It just be nice to switch it up. And then from here, after you rebend into the legs in 90 degrees, take your hands to your thighs and then slowly start to drop one shoulder down and then come back up. So we're staying strong in our legs and dropping into the shoulders. Take one more round. And then we'll slowly start to come back up. You can straighten the legs. Take whichever toes are forward and we'll come up to our Tadasana at the top of our mats. Maybe you roll the shoulders, take a couple of neck rolls. And then from here, take the feet about hips width distance apart or a little bit more. Toes are pointed forward. Take the arms out forward and reach forward. Hug baby up towards the heart space. Soften the shoulders down the back and then shift all of the weight into your right foot. And then slowly pick that left foot up if you can. You could also let that left toe tap to the ground if you're not feeling a balance today. And then slowly start to walk it back until you come into a high crescent lunge. Beautiful. So as needed, you can always widen out your stance by walking right foot up and out so you're on train tracks, not in a tightrope. And then from here, goalpost the arms, 90-degree bends. And then on the inhale, slowly start to close. Open. And then close. Feeling the shoulders and the chest kind of open. Take a couple more rounds on your own. Feel your left glute start to engage. And then we'll add on a little bit more. So as you open, inhale. And then as you exhale and close, start to bend into that left knee. Inhale, open, come back up. And exhale to close. Inhale, open, last time. Exhale, close. Inhale, open, pause here. Bring hands to heart center. Shift the weight forward. You have the option to come into airplane pose, or you can keep that left toe on the ground. Hands can stay at heart center. They can come out to the side. Yeah, it's okay if we wobble. That's totally okay. And then when you're ready, slowly start to left foot meet the right. Coming into your Tadasana at the top of your mats, kind of shake it out. I'm like out of breath now, cueing that and doing that at the same time. Just take a couple of shoulder rolls, neck rolls. And then from here, feet are about hips width distance apart. Moving on to our left side, take the arms forward. Squat down. Feel your core start to engage as you lift up. Shift all of the weight into that left foot. And then slowly start to pick that right foot up. Maybe you let it hover for a bit. And then slowly, or not so slowly as you want to, start to walk that right foot back. And we come into our high crescent lunge. Taking a moment, kind of set your stance as needed. Maybe heel toe left foot up and out. Find a wider stance. And then we'll slowly start to bend into the elbows on the exhale. And then when you're ready, slowly start to add in. Opening up through the chest. And then feeling that squeeze in the shoulders, almost like you're trying to squeeze a pencil in between your shoulder blades. Adding on that bend with your right knee. Exhale, close the arms and bend into your right knee. And inhale, open to straighten. Exhale, bend as much as you can. And then inhale, straighten, nice. 2 more. Last one. And then from here, slowly start to bring your hands to heart center. Shifting the weight into your left foot, hover the torso and slowly pick that right foot up. Airplane pose. Airplane pose can also be with that right toe on the ground. For 3, 2, and 1. Right foot comes down. Let neck and head be heavy. If you want to, widen out your stance a little bit more. Grab opposite elbows, sway from side to side. If you're feeling any sort of nausea or going up and down doesn't feel that great, remember you can always stay in your Tadasana. Slowly start to release the hands if they were binded or bound, and you'll come all the way up to Tadasana at the top of your mats. Taking your right foot forward, take a step back with your left foot, coming into a warrior 2. Finning, open up the arms, gazes over your right middle finger. Find that strength in your legs by pressing into the outer edge of your left foot. And then we'll inhale, flip your right palm, reverse your warrior, reach back. And then exhale to your extended side angle. So if you want to make it a little bit more challenging, have the right elbow hover and reach the left arm overhead. Inhale to reverse. And exhale, extended side angle. 1 long line of energy from your left toes through the fingertips. Last time, reverse, staying in our legs. And exhale to our extended side angle. Come back up to your warrior 2. And then we pivot, taking as many turns as you need to come into our high crescent lunge. Slowly start to take the hands to the heart center, shifting the weight forward 1 more time. Airplane pose for 3, 2, and on 1, depending on how much space you have, walk that right foot out a little bit more, and then hands will come down if you can around your right foot. and coming into standing split. Lifting the left leg up. Feel your outer right glute doing all of the work for 3. Maybe you take a couple of ankle rolls with that left foot. 2. And on 1, your left foot will meet the right. Forward fold or ragdoll. Widen the feet out, grab opposite elbows. You can sway from side to side. And then slowly, as you're ready, rolling up. Meeting in our Virabhadrasana B, Warrior 2. Left foot is forward. Taking that step back with your right foot. Opening out through the arms, gazes over your left middle finger. 3 times, reversing, reach back, an extended side angle. Maybe you let that left elbow hover. Inhale to reverse, stay in your legs, go as slow or as fast as you want, and come into your extended side angle. Last time, reverse, extended side angle. Come back up to your Warrior 2. And then as many times as it takes, we're gonna shift into that high crescent lunge. There's not really any graceful way necessarily in prenatal or postnatal yoga to necessarily transition from things. Bring your hands to heart center, shift your weight into your left foot, pick that right foot up. Airplane pose, last few breaths. And then slowly place that right foot down. We're coming into that standing split. So still working your left glute as much as you want to. Pick that right foot up. Maybe take those ankle circles. Then as you're ready, slowly let the right foot meet the left. And we'll actually come into a yogi squat malasana at the top of our mats. So options, if you want to, you could also place that like a pillow underneath and come down. Hands to heart center. And then taking your left arm across the body, reach your right arm up. So you could stay here. If you have that space, right hand comes behind the head and then roll back. Just feel that stretch from your right elbow all the way down through your right hip crease. Reaching that right arm up again. Come back through to center. Is everyone doing okay in the squat? Yeah. And then right arm reaches across. Left arm comes up. You could stay here or take the left hand behind the head. Lift that left elbow up towards the ceiling. Breathing into your left side body. And then slowly starting to come down. Yogi squat. See if you can drop the tailbone down. And then when you're ready, slowly start to come up. So we come up to standing, and we'll just take one standing balance on each side. Your choice, depending on how you're feeling. You could either take a tree pose, starting on the right side, left sole of foot presses down to the ground. Then your right sole of foot comes to ankle, calf, upper, inner thigh. If you kind of want to get more into the hips, you could come into a figure 4 pose, pressing right ankle over left thigh. Either one. And then when you're ready, slowly start to grow your tree. Pick any arm variation that you want. And then feeling that gentle stretch in that right hip. See if you can roll that right knee back to feel more of that opening through here. As you're ready, slowly start to bring your hands to heart center. Take that right knee out in front. See if you can pause here for 3, 2, nice, and 1. Take the right foot down, shake it out, take anything that you need. And we switch sides. So shift all of the weight into your right foot. Left sole of foot anywhere alongside the inside of your right leg, just not on top of the knee joint. Hands to heart center. Rolling that left knee back slightly so you can feel that glute or hip opening through the front. And start to grow your tree. So taking any arm variation that you want. And then as you're ready, slowly start to bring hands to heart center. Left knee goes out in front. Stand tall in your right leg for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly come down. Take any kind of like maybe you roll shoulders or take a couple of circles with the hips. And then we're slowly going to come down onto our seat for some hip stretches. So we did a decent amount of like outer glute, like outer hip stuff. So what we are going to do today is taking your left shin parallel to the front edge of your mat. We're not coming into like a full pigeon pose. You're gonna take your right leg also at a 90-degree angle. And then notice if you're leaning back too much, you might have to use like a bolster or pillow underneath the hip to kind of lean forward. Is everyone good? Okay. You should feel like this slight stretch in the outer right hip, and then like maybe in the left side, like a little bit too. And then from here, your hands are going to start to walk forward. And then notice if that right hip is either jutting back or leaning forward. You can slowly kind of walk your hands forward and then press both knees down towards the ground. Kind of feel that work going, but also that stretch. You can kind of move the hands around as needed, or kind of allow the hands to kind of guide you more so that the hips are square. And then slowly release if you're using a lot of force to kind of press down with both knees. And then we'll just kind of soften. If you feel like a pinching sensation in that outer, in any area, you can kind of roll out as needed or take the legs and move them around. And then from here, slowly start to sit back up. Sit tall, feeling that length through the side body and through that right knee all the way up through that right hip. And then as you're ready, slowly start to bring your soles of your feet to touch for butterfly pose. So kind of this stretch. Depending on how much space you need, you could round through your upper back or even take heels a little bit wider as opposed to towards the inner thighs. And then you can either forward fold, taking forehead towards feet, which will round through your upper back, or you can keep the length through the spine and just keep the chest long. And then we'll slowly start to come back up. Take the legs out in front, just kind of knock the knees as needed, kind of give them a shake. And then when you're ready, we'll take that right shin parallel to the front edge of your mat. And then like a windmill, taking the left leg back behind. So it's like a 90-degree bend in both legs. And then slowly, as needed, you can place a block or a bolster underneath that left side to square off. And then the hands can come alongside the body and then start to lean forward as much as you can. And as you lean forward, see if you can press the knees and the legs down into the ground so that you feel like that opposition. Then you'll slowly start to release from pressing down with that opposition and just kind of hang out. See if you can roll your shoulders away from the ears. If it feels okay, let the belly kind of soften down towards the ground. So kind of letting gravity do its thing. And then you'll slowly start to come back up. Sitting up tall, feel that length from your left hip crease all the way down into that left knee. And then we'll slowly start to take the left leg out in front. So two options here, and I'm not sure how this will work, is we're gonna come in to stretch out our outer hips more. Megan, just let me know if you need more space. We're gonna come into Gomukhasana by stacking our knees on top of one another. And you'll feel the right leg's gonna go under first, and that left knee is gonna stack on top. Flex your toes towards your shins, and then sit up tall. You should feel this in your outer left glute hip. See if you can drop that tailbone down just a little bit more. Softening the shoulders. And typically there's like this arm bind that goes with it. But instead of the arm bind today, you can either, depending on how shoulders and upper back feel, you can either catch opposite shoulders, or you can take left arm underneath the right for eagle arms. And then once you're in eagle arms, see if you can lift elbows up in line with the shoulders. And we'll hold here for a few more breaths. Slowly start to unwind the arms, and then we'll unwind the legs. Did that feel okay for everyone? Take the legs, kind of give them a knock before switching over to the other side. And it should feel now, with that right leg stacked on top, more in that outer right hip, flexing the toes. Typically in this pose, we cue to like forward fold, but with that compression, it probably won't feel good to like lean forward. So I'm cueing it by sitting up tall. The other option is to also take this from our backs, but I figured it's probably harder to like reach up to grab anything. So this is probably where we're at today, all of us. And then with those eagle arms, right arm will slide underneath, and then lift elbows up, feeling that stretch through the upper back and the shoulders. This is really great for tight rounded shoulders, sitting at desks all day, or I'm on my phone a lot, so I'm hunched over. That's also what these eagle arms can counter, as well as like puppy dog pose. And then as you're ready, take one more full breath in. Full exhale out. And slowly start to unwind the arms. We'll unwind the legs. Take them out in front, kind of give them a shake. In our last seated pose, a wide-legged forward fold from our seat. So taking the legs out to a V. From here, toes stay engaged. And then as you can reach for calves, ankles, feet. And by allowing our legs to widen, it gives more space as the belly grows to kind of forward fold. See if you can soften the neck and the head if you're holding any tension for these last few breaths. And then we'll slowly start to roll up, taking both legs out in front, and we're slowly going to come onto our back for a couple of hip bridges before we close out our class. Make sure that you're pressing your feet into the ground, toes are pointed forward. Your feet can actually be a little bit wider than hips width distance, but they can also be hips width distance if that feels okay. Grazing heels with fingertips, exhale all the air out, and then inhale to lift up. So we still want our glutes and our outer hips to do a lot of the work. So imagine like you're squeezing a block or a pillow in between your knees. And then we slowly start to come down. We'll do that 2 more times. Exhale all the air out. Inhale, lift pelvis and hips up. Squeeze your glutes. Feel the outer hips and the legs engage and work. And then slowly lower down. Last time. And then inhale to rise up. Last one. Squeeze the inner thighs together. And slowly come down. As you come down, if it feels okay, windshield wiper your legs back and forth. And then slowly come back through to center, pressing the entire low back down into the ground. Crush your right ankle over your left thigh. And then you can either use your right hand to press into the right inner thigh, or if you have that space, lift the left leg up for that figure 4 pose from your back. And then come back through to center. And then switch sides. Yeah, this is also great to do from seated as well, or from forearms, if going all the way onto your back doesn't feel comfortable. And then come back through to center. From here, we're gonna set up for our final resting pose. A couple of options. You could come onto your side with that pillow in between the legs. One arm could come out to the side. Other option, you could come into that supported fish or Shavasana pose as we did before. Take as much time as you need to kind of settle in. And then as needed, if you want to, maybe closing eyes or softening the gaze over the tip of your nose. And this morning, I'll be going through a metta meditation. It's a loving kindness meditation for parents and mothers. And so it's more of like a visualization meditation. So either closing the eyes or softening the gaze over the tip of your nose. If you've never done a metta meditation before, it is repeating a mantra, usually to yourself, to someone who is a friend or a family member, and then someone who you might be acquaintances with, and then finally maybe someone who you need to make amends with or don't always get along with. And it's a mantra that tells them, may you be safe, happy, healthy, and loved. And so what we'll be doing is going through this for the next few minutes. But this is for parents and for mothers. And so we always start with this meditation with loving kindness for ourselves and repeating the phrases. So imagining like you're looking at a mirror and you see your reflection as that mother. And repeat to yourself, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I treat myself with kindness in good times and hard times. May I be well and live with ease. So repeating that to yourself as the caregiver, mother, parent. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I treat myself with kindness in good times and hard times. May I be well and live with ease. And then start to share or imagine yourself moving out of that picture and bring baby to mind. And you could also take one hand to baby right now if you'd like to. Bring baby to mind, or maybe they're in your arms. And share this loving kindness with baby. May you be surrounded with loving kindness. May I respond to you with kindness in good times and hard times. May you be well and live with ease. And just repeating that one more time to them. May you be surrounded with loving kindness. May I respond to you with kindness in good times and hard times. And may you be well and live with ease. Holding this phrase for yourself, for your baby. Try to see if you can imagine yourself with baby. Maybe you need to also repeat this more to yourself today and this morning. This isn't something that can be easy sometimes, especially when we talk to ourselves. And knowing that if you have kind of let your mind wander or lost touch with these phrases, You can always start back up again. Loving kindness, treating yourself with kindness in good times and hard times. Be well and live with ease. Or maybe thinking about baby, either in belly or in arms. Being surrounded with loving kindness. Responding to them with kindness in good times and in hard times. And may they live with ease. Repeat that a few more times on your own, as much as you need to. Most importantly, seeing if you can experience this sense of connection with yourself, with baby, inviting that love, kindness, and care for yourself and for them. Take a full breath in and a full exhale out. Bringing awareness back into the body. Inhale and exhale. And as you're ready, slowly come up to your seated position, taking your time. Coming up to your seated position. Just observing maybe how you're feeling. Any shifts. And it doesn't have to be like this big shift or like everything has changed or that you feel different. This is just a time to observe and notice. And we'll close with one breath together. Bringing hands to heart center, or if you want, take one hand to the heart and then lay the other hand on top. Take a deep breath in. Open mouth. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me and one another this morning. The light in me honors and respects the light in each and every one of you. Namaste and have a great rest of your day.